It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be
forward.
like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I'm Joe Mennel from Street Talk.
My name is Louis Ngoro. I am a recovery coach and a recovering alcoholic as well.
I'm Mervyn. I'm an addictions counselor / coach, and I'm in recovery as well.
I am just a normal 54-year-old male. I work for myself. I also am in recovery. I've had mental health issues since I was very young. There are only certain resources in this country which are dedicated to mental health. And I think all the social workers, all the government psychologists, psychiatrists, they must mince people out like a sausage factory, 15 seconds in, 15 seconds out. They don't have the time, And where do men go to speak to other people about their mental condition? I think a major part of it is the stigma around it, and we don't want to speak about it. Where do we go? Who will understand us? I think we need to start educating the public in general about mental issues. Go to people, speak to them and say, listen, especially the person who's suffering must be able to find some sort of avenue to speak to, because you go to a public hospital with a mental issue, you're really at the bottom of the list. And, just go home and get on with it.
2 weeks ago, I go to a government hospital, take my cousin there who's clearly psychotic. She's been psychotic. She's living at my mom's, she's been on the streets for a long time. She goes to my mom, she wants help. And, she wants to get well. And clearly she's psychotic. She's flushing the toilet 100 times a day at my mom's house, we take her to Helen Joseph, government hospital. And, with COVID now, in my head, I'm like, this person needs to be admitted. But you get there, and then they check her out, and they're like, it's fine. She needs to deal with the other stuff first in order for us to kind of look at the psychiatric part of it. And it's fine. She can go home. She just needs to see a social worker. So those are also part of the challenges. So I think the thing is, for me, I sometimes look at depression as an expensive disease. And that's the frustration that I sit with, of you can't be poor and you can't be depressed. You know what I mean? Because you just have to get on with it, right? If you're poor and depressed, you don't have resources. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, psychiatric medication is expensive. To go see a psychiatrist is expensive. The whole process also, when you look at the system, the way the process, it's a process for you to get an appointment with a psychiatrist, with a psychologist, if you look at it from a government perspective. So there are all these hurdles and challenges that frustrate me, of like putting better systems in place so people can get the support they need.
We are fearful to open up to other men, to other people, to society in general. We're fearful that we are judged. We are fearful that people won't see us as strong enough. We are fearful that people will see us as sort of incapable of being a man, And at the end of the day, we're all just human. all of us have got feelings. We've all got emotions, and we all have experiences. And it's just so sad that we don't have anywhere to go, you know. But there are places to go. There are places to go. It's like, Mervyn, I'm sure you know maybe one or two other places. I know some resources where men can go and just discuss, sit in a forum of people who are suffering the same, you know. And I wish that I could have found somebody in that space. And that is actually when I started searching. And I did find an organization that helped me, through a social worker, that helped me to get to a forum where I could speak. But I think men themselves need to speak to men, and bringing out our more of our, getting to our feminine side inside, so that we can actually recognize each other as men, as sensitive people. Because men aren't meant to be sensitive. We are not meant to have, we're not meant to be soft inside. Big boys don't cry. Men don't cry. When I suppress those feelings inside of me, when I want to cry, I actually physically feel a burning inside that I'm not letting go of what I'm feeling. And I just get worse, you know? And I just wish more men would open up and actually cry in front of other men. I feel nothing to cry in front of other men now, because I know how cathartic it is for me. And this man does cry. This man does cry, because I've learned how it helps me heal.
Sure. I think what's interesting is, like, I had a title for a book, you know, living and being a South African, and the title would have been, the title is, "And They Laughed Through Everything." Because, but what I mean by that is, and I mean, for me, it's like just kind of going back to, you know, when we were uncomfortable at home, or when and I speak for I speak for my family, you know, what was modeled to me was when stuff was a bit, you know, that uncle that was a bit weird, and his behavior was a bit weird, we laughed at him, right? Because that was our only way of dealing with how uncomfortable we were. And I suppose it still leaks now in adult life. I mean, like, you know, when I talk about like traumatic experiences in my family, we laugh about it.
Lewis, in a relationship with your partner, how difficult is it, in your case then, to open up with the person closer, well, supposedly closest to you?
It was quite difficult because I hadn't owned my mental health problem. I was still dealing with, how do I even begin to say what is wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I actually don't know what's wrong with me. And I still haven't figured it out. But I did have an opportunity to share some of, you know, what was going on, what was happening, what was the underlying problem. But I became a very secretive alcoholic. I used to stash my booze around and try and manage, you know, the what do they call it? You know, just try and be a normal drinker, but it never worked. And the environment that I had was conducive for me to talk. And this is when I was with my partner. But growing up, where the problem started is very difficult. So now we're dealing with a whole animal as an adult, and you're trying to survive. You're trying to start a family. You need to work, but you still got this situation that you've been moving with for so many years, and you actually don't know how to stop the conversation. And I'm kind of depressed. What about? How about this situation? Come on. So this is what we get. But sometimes you would have someone that would listen, but again, the follow through to a solution is so key. Talking about it, finding out what the situation is a really strong place to start. But the follow through, going to therapy, getting on any medication, if that's the prescribed solution, or in a very extreme case, do you need to be away from society for a little while and go to a psych ward and get some more intensive help? So in my case, I was fortunate enough, but because of the addiction, it became too powerful for me to want to stop. And I ended up riding it right till, a rock bottom situation, which was very painful. And at that point, I was pretty much taking anything to keep a high. And I could feel the shakes were taking me to a place where I was, kind of struggling to breathe and not sure if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. So if left to just run its course, and I say this quite a lot, that not everybody needs to get to a rock bottom situation. Not everybody needs to end up on the streets. Family, friends, the interventions, do they help? I believe they help. Because sometimes you have to step up and say, hey, buddy, what's going on? You've been AWOL for 2 months. Your phone has been off. So those are the little behaviors as well that, we need to step in, I would say. The stepping in conversations, they're very crucial as well. But with compassion, because we're very good at ducking and diving in our depressive and just going through your downturn. Yeah, your downturn. So having an environment that is conducive to have the conversation is very important. My dream is to create a wellness place where anybody can come and find a safe place to better themselves and find healing.
And my dream is to co-create a world of healing by speaking my truth and being vulnerable.
My dream is to bring the whole of humanity to realize that we are all one. We all come from one source and we all love. And that if we all realized that we come from one creator to change the world by spreading that love and that light.
Z, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.